Time now for our Listen Up debate segment. Tonight's proposition comes from Nick Jones, who's founder of the Edinburgh-based wallet and digital payments platform Zumo.
The time is ripe for Scotland to go cashless. When was the last time you took cash out? Was it yesterday, last month, maybe even last year? There's a good chance it may have even have been as long ago as last March. Newly locked down, we found ourselves with wallets and purses full of coppers and paper that I bet many still haven't found a good reason to shift beyond stuffing the piggy bank. Figures suggest that physical cash withdrawals have plummeted by up to 70% in some city centres. It's not only the time for going cashless, the rest of the world has already gone and done it.
And Nick is here to debate his arguments with Sarah Jane Dunn, Policy Manager at Citizens Advice Scotland. Thank you both very much indeed for joining us. Nick, to you first of all, why is it better to have a cashless society?
Well, I think there's probably three main benefits amongst others. I think, first of all, it's just more efficient. You know, cash is kind of a legacy technology that has been superseded. It's quite a dirty technology environmentally, which is one of the other key benefits that we would see. But from an efficiency point of view, far more efficient for consumers and for businesses to deal with digital cash, provided the infrastructure is in the right place and provided that nobody gets left behind. I think the other two that I would pick out is actually digital, if you look at the way that's been embraced in the rest of the world, can drive financial inclusion, can help those last few people who are unbanked in the UK, who struggle with ID issues, to drive financial inclusion rather than for it to be an issue. And we're very, very keen on making sure that can happen. And I think that the third point is just around financial crime and money laundering. We think the Bank of England's lost track of about £50 billion worth of banknotes in the economy at the moment, in the grey economy. So it's not a particularly efficient system from a tax point of view as well.
OK, Sarah Jane, are you convinced at all by Nick's argument there? It's more efficient, it's cleaner, less fraud?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not. For me personally and for Citizens Advice Scotland, the way that we look at access to cash is about choice. There's a significant number of people in the UK who rely on cash. In a recent Financial Conduct Authority Financial Life Survey, they found in 2020, 5.4 million adults relied on cash, either to a great or very great extent. And that's not a small number. If we want to put it into perspective, that's the population of Scotland relying on cash and choosing to rely on cash. And that's the crux of my argument. It has to be about choice. This drive towards digital is pushing a great number of our society into either digital exclusion or financial exclusion. And I know Nick has obviously highlighted that there are people trying to ensure that financial inclusion is at the top, but it has to be about choice, and using cash plays an important part. So dependency on cash, yes, like I say, is usually higher amongst those who are digitally excluded, but also older adults. But that isn't the only drivers for people who have to use cash or feel that they need to use cash.
Nick, it will leave some people behind. It will exclude a section of society.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could do. I think it needs a concerted effort from government, from the private sector, from technology companies to make the technology more and more accessible. And I believe it's far easier for everybody if we can move to a cashless system which everybody has access to. And it's certainly not something you can just flick a switch on, obviously. So I think the key thing is nobody left behind. But, you know, the technology is there. It's about a concerted effort to probably reuse some of the money that goes into production of kind of physical cash into ensuring that we've got a technology infrastructure that's fit for the 21st century.
OK, Sarah Jane, I think basically what Nick's saying is that people will have to keep up with the times.
But this is, why do we have to keep up with the times? Why does it have to be a choice of cashless or using cash? Why can't we have both? Why can't someone decide if they want to use a contactless payment or a card payment, or if somebody feels more beneficial to use cash? Many people use cash because it is a way of controlling their money. It's a way of making sure that they're able to budget. It's a way of helping them avoid debt. Or it's just more convenient for their daily lives. A lot of people are still paid in cash and they choose to be paid in cash. They want to be paid in cash. And taking away their right of that choice and pushing them into a digital age isn't fair. Only 30% of all UK adults would be actually pleased to be in a cashless society. And in fact, the study done recently by Link, who are the ATM network, found that 8 million people would struggle in a cashless society. That is still a significant number. And in 30 years' time, we might come to a point where these people feel comfortable not using cash. But for many people, they're not using cash because of its choice. It's because they're being forced not to use cash due to things like bank closures and that are coming in, so they don't have that choice.
Okay. Nick, maybe this is going to take a lot longer than maybe that you would hope, 30 years. You know, some people need more control over their money, and this is how they want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, definitely choice is a place where I would argue that you probably have more budgetary control over your money by using digital tools and budgeting in that way. That's why younger people have embraced the neobanks and other systems along that way. Listen, I'm totally on board with nobody getting left behind, and it definitely isn't kind of. I think there's a huge role here for government, for government to play in kind of driving this digitisation forwards. But obviously, it can only happen at a time when when you don't have a section of society left behind. But cash is a legacy technology that will, whether we like it or lump it, disappear. And humans tend to cling on to legacy tech out of familiarity. But in however many years' time, when we look back on it, it will seem as bizarre as many of the other things that happened in our childhood seem to my children now when I tell them about going out to make phone calls from the phone box when I was a kid in the evening.
Okay, Sarah, I'll let you have the final word on that.
Well, for me, as I say, many people are being forced into using online payments or contactless or, e-wallets and things like that because they don't have a choice, because choice has been taken away from them, whether it's because ATMs are now charging for usage or bank closures or even COVID meaning that people are not having that choice to use cash. Personally, I have had to use contactless payments during COVID, but once I can, I will be going back to cash. Okay. And that has came from a lived experience of being in poverty. And I have a fear that if I don't control my money, then I might end up overspending. Right. And a lot of people have that. And being able to control money is very important for many people, especially those with low incomes or financial difficulties.
Right, we'll have to leave it there. Fascinating discussion. Well argued, both of you, Nick and Sarah Jane. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.